2025. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Watkins, Howie, you call the roll. Yes, please call the roll.
Good morning, Commissioners. Chair Keeney?
Here.
Vice Chair Lepper?
Here.
Commissioner Sylvester?
Here.
Commissioner Smith?
Here.
Commissioner Stratton?
Here.
Okay, thank you. We have no closed session reports tonight, so our next item is the adoption of the agenda. Can I have a motion to do that?
Motion to adopt.
Thank you, Ms. Lipper.
Second.
Second from Ms. Stratton. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next is the consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered routine and will be enacted by general consent unless any commissioner requests a roll call vote or unless any member of the commission, staff, or audience wishes to remove an item for discussion. And on our calendar is approval of the minutes of our last meeting on June 17th. Does anyone want to pull that item?
I just have one small correction on the minutes.
Okay. So we'll pull that for a minor correction. Anyone else have a? Okay, so we'll move on to number 6, and your correction into the minutes.
On page 3, I actually just noticed it. The new procedure will be discussed at the July 17th meeting, but I believe it should be 15th today.
Page 3, I'm sorry.
Under the city manager memorandum, 13.2.1, the last sentence is the new procedure will be discussed at the July 17th Planning Commission meeting. That should read July 15th, which is today. Right here.
You're right. I see it. Okay. Because it was the June 17th. That's okay. Got it. So a minor correction to the meeting minutes. Any other comments, discussion? All right. So now we need a motion to approve the amended minutes.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Stratton. And a second?
Second.
By Amy. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Abstain, I wasn't here.
Okay. One
I
abstention.
abstain as well.
2 abstentions. Mr. Smith and Ms. Sylvester. All right. So that's 3-0. Number 7 is items of interest to the public. Public comment on non-agenda items. This portion of the meeting is reserved for people wishing to address the commission on any matter not on the agenda, but within the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. State law prohibits the commission from acting on items not listed on the agenda except by special action of the Planning Commission under specified circumstances. Someone stepped up to the podium. Good evening. We have, please state your name for the record.
Oh, Mike Drobush. Did the city attorney ever finish reviewing the Planning Commission bylaws? And did you guys go through them and adopt?
Planning Commission bylaws.
That is something that is still under review by the city manager at this time.
I'm just wondering if there was problems with it. You keep holding meetings with incorrect bylaws. Anyway, just funny. Got a question on the roundtable with the roof sign. Roof signs aren't allowed, and once they went under for, I think it was 160, 180 days, then that roof sign now is illegal. So it should come down before the new tenant goes in.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Which signs?
Round table.
Round table, okay.
So when that happens, like Pearson Soda Works had to take their roof sign down during that changeover and the vacancy in between. Because I saw that they were starting to put new signage up. So hopefully they don't spend a bunch of money and a sign on the roof that they can't use. Where the planning commission agenda is on the city's website is kind of a pain. Like when you have a city agenda, you have clickable links within that agenda page, and it's super easy. You get your attachments, you get your staff report. But with the city, I only find it when you scroll to the bottom of the front page under the calendar, and then there's all the individual items, and they're just dog-piled on each other. And so sometimes the staff report's here, sometimes it's here, and it's really hard to figure out, like with tonight's, there was, 20 different things on that list, and they're all just combined real close together. So it takes more time to try and read the report for an item. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate your comments. And as far as the last item, I'm sure that's just a matter of getting staff availability to work on the website. I've never had any problem finding the links I wanted to pull up, but so maybe staff can just take that into consideration.
We're taking a look at the website so we can address that, and the separate attachments are just for ease of finding if you're looking for a particular document like the site plan or the zoning map. But that's something we can discuss later. Maybe we can talk about some changes and we can bring that forward to the Planning Commission.
Okay. So there's signage at Roundtable. I'm sure that'll come up at some point when they have a use permit that runs with the land, but they'll probably be submitting a sign package, that new business.
I believe they did submit a sign permit, but they have to update the master sign plan was the correction. So, but I'll get with staff on that as well.
Okay. All right. So I saw a couple of people just walk in. We're on item 7 of our agenda, which is items of interest to the public and public comment. If you would happen to have a comment for the Planning Commission that's not on our agenda tonight, this is your opportunity to speak to us. I just wanted to make sure that you knew where we were on our agenda. Okay. And welcome. Always like to have people attending our meetings. All right. Number 8 is written communications on non-agenda items. We don't have any communications like that, nor do we have presentations or educational workshops tonight. So that means we go on to item 10, environmental assessments and public hearings. And we have 10.1, general plan amendment, 25-01, zone change, 25-01, and conditional use permit, CUP, 25-04 for 3062 Cedar Ravine Road. And I will turn that over to you, Ms. Kendrick, for the staff report.
Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. Carol Kendrick, Development Services Director, presenting the Thompson House project, which involves a general plan amendment, a zone change, and a conditional use permit. On April 15th, the city received a zone change application for the property at 3062 Cedar Ravine. I want to point out a housekeeping item here on the front page of the staff report where it says address, it says 3061. I can assure you that it was advertised correctly. You do have the proof of publication and everything else does reflect 3062. So, but they did submit an application on April 15th. Upon review, I informed the applicants that a general plan amendment would be necessary, which they submitted on May 30th. Subsequently, it was determined by public comment that the housing element requires a conditional use permit for converting properties back to residential, and the applicants submitted a conditional use permit on June 11th. So they've been pretty good sports about this. The general plan amendment is needed to align the property's land use designation with the proposed zoning. The general plan allows for only 4 amendments annually, and this is the first proposed amendment. The applicant seeks to change the land use from business and professional to high-density residential, consistent with most of the surrounding land use designations. The zone change proposes rezoning the property from business and professional to R3 medium-density residential, aligning with the predominant zoning of the adjacent properties. As I mentioned before, the CUP is required under Chapter 2 of the sixth cycle housing element, which mandates a CUP for reestablishing structures that are nonconforming due to density. This application ensures compliance with the housing element as a procedural requirement. In addition, City Code Section 10.5.10 states that detached single-family dwellings require CUP when the Planning Commission determines that site constraints, such as limited parcel size, irregular shape, or topography, make multifamily development impractical. The site meets the R3 zoning development standards, and with the CUP approval, the use will also be conforming as well. A little bit about the history. The Blair Thompson House reportedly was built by John Blair in 1851, and it may be the oldest surveyed property in the Cedar Ravine Road District that was established in 1951. While the Thompson House is not a designated city, state, or national historic resource, it is included in the City of Placerville's historic inventory. It is not listed in the Placerville Historic Markers Inventory compiled in 2023. In 1976, the property was rezoned to business professional residential under use permit U-76-5, allowing its conversion into professional offices with the adjacent off-street parking. In 2018, historical preservationists purchased the property and began restoring it as their personal residence. The property is approximately 1 acre at 3062 Cedar Ravine Road. It is bordered by the Pacific Street Dental and is surrounded by residential uses to the south, east, and west. The site does lack curb, gutter, and sidewalk improvements. Most of the surrounding properties are zoned high-density residential, or have high-density residential land use designations except for the dental office that is CBD. And in the table in your staff report, it does point out a business profession, but it's actually CBD. Thank you, Sean. The proposed high-density residential general plan land use designation supports a range of housing types and densities. And according to Chapter 4 of the housing element, the city's residential historic districts are largely built out with a few vacant parcels. The subject property, though developed, is not identified in the sixth cycle housing element. And the proposed use aligns with General Plan Goal G to preserve and enhance Placerville's historical heritage as detailed in the staff report. While the medium density zoning does not match the existing use, the applicant seeks a residential zone consistent with the adjacent single-family residential zoning. As noted in the general plan section of the staff report, it would be more appropriate to have R1 zoning for the property, but it's considered spot zoning, which is highly frowned upon. We wouldn't recommend that. SB 18 consultation is a government-to-government process initiated by a local agency. We reach out to the Native American Heritage Commission and we let them know that we're either doing an AB 52 tribal consultation or a SB 18. There's different requirements. I'm going to do a training at our next meeting on that. And they provide us a list of tribes to reach out to. So this project is subject to SB 18 because they are proposing to amend our general plan. We did send out 20 letters based on the NAHC list we received. We've received one comment back from the Shingle Springs Miwok. We did originally have a meeting scheduled for yesterday to do a tribal consultation. That has been moved to tomorrow. So I can provide an update at the next meeting. And then the city has determined that the proposed amendment is exempt from CEQA review under CEQA sections 15061B3 and 15301 as an existing facility. And under City Code Section 1031D, the Planning Commission is authorized to recommend zoning classification amendments and general plan land use designation changes to the City Council. This process requires a public hearing per the City Code with final approval by City Council as a legislative action. The Planning Commission is also authorized under the zoning ordinance to act on all permit applications within the city. This item was advertised in the Mountain Democrat on June 25th, meeting the 20-day public review period for zone changes. No comments have been received by staff. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt the staff report as part of the public record, hold a public hearing, and recommend that the City Council approve General Plan Amendment 25-001, Zone Change 25-001, Conditional Use Permit 25-004, subject to the attached conditions. This concludes my staff report. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, and the applicants/owners are here as well.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the clarity of your staff report. This is a very different issue for this planning commission, a general plan amendment, a zone change, and a CUP to bring this house back into a single-family residence. But your staff report lays out exactly why all of this is necessary. One question I did have, with a change in the zoning, if a subsequent owner did want to convert it to a multifamily or higher density, they would have to come, would they have that by right, or would that require a new CUP?
I believe it would be a site plan review because it's a permitted use in the multifamily zone, but it would have some discretion, but it's a permitted use, so would be really challenging to deny that.
Site plan review,
Yeah. Okay.
I don't have any other questions. Anyone else have a question on the staff report?
I had called you because I had a question about whether we needed to consider any existing non-conforming distances, like setbacks and things with the change in the land use and zoning.
So during my presentation, I did mention that it is consistent with the R3 development standards. And like I said, the CUP does bring the use. So the structure will be conforming in the proposed zoning and general plan amendment. And then the use will be conforming based on the conditional use permit approval.
Thank you. Sorry that I missed that.
That's okay. It was a lot of information.
Okay. Do you have a question?
I just have a quick question on the SB 18 procedures in terms of, do you have a sense of what concerns the tribes would raise, or if it's even a concern?
I don't. So they responded back noting AB 52, which they're not doing any construction. It's categorically exempt.
Right.
So SB 18 is only related to the general plan amendment in this case, and they asked me for studies and a lot of background information. I said that there's nothing happening at the property. This is all paperwork. It's just procedural. They still want to meet, so I'm going to meet with them and see what their concerns are, but there's not going to be any construction or ground disturbing activities. So I think they're relying on AB 52, and I've found with some tribes that I've worked with in my career, if you do a categorical exemption, they still say that it's CEQA still being applied.
I see.
So, but
Okay,
I'd
great.
be happy to update the commission after my meeting.
Yeah, that would be great. I'm just thinking, so procedurally, if, let's say the city council doesn't approve the general plan change, then all of this would reset to something else, right?
So we do have to finish our consultation prior to going to city council, so we're hoping to conclude that
Okay,
this week. If city council denies it, then everything would be as it is now.
okay, great, thank you.
And to be clear, yeah, the action that we are to take is to make the findings and then just pass along a recommendation tonight, including the CUP.
Correct.
So all that will be together with the results of your consultation under SB 18.
Correct.
Okay.
And you can't approve the conditional use permit without the general plan amendment and the zone change. So yeah, they all travel together.
So they will take care of all the actual,
Yep.
as opposed to Planning Commission actually taking action on a conditional use permit. Okay.
Thank you for that clarification.
Any other questions for staff? Okay. At this time, we'll open the public hearing portion, and we'll start by asking the applicants to step up to the podium and present or add any information. I will say, I can see there's a little deliberation going on. Your application was very thorough, wonderful, in-depth, and very well done. I just want to thank you for that. We sometimes applicants don't go into detail, and so planning commission's kind of left, trying to fill things in or get the information the night of. Whereas your application was terrific, and also a great historical review too. So I want to thank you for all the effort that you put into it. Is there anything you'd like to add? And I don't know if any commissioners have questions, but welcome.
Is this on?
It is on, and please speak into it because it's
Yeah.
a little hard to hear sometimes. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for having us. And my name is Sean Manwaring. This is my husband, Jacob Rigoli. And we are the owners of the John Blair Judge Thompson House at 3062 Cedar Ravine. We bought the home about 6 years ago. And we kind of had a checklist of, we're historic preservationists. We've done this before, but we were ready for our forever home, and we love the mother lode. We're spending so much time up here. Our families have been in California since 1847 and 1852, respectively. We are just passionate about California history, and we saw the listing for the home and immediately booked an appointment to see it. And we walked in, and it was a complete mess. It was falling apart, and we said, yes, it needs us. And we've poured so much of our hearts into restoring it, and it's been such a wonderful journey. We've been able to get to know the Blair family who built it and meet their descendants and have them consult us with family photos, and Judge Thompson's children. The Thompsons bought it from the Blairs and lived there for over 80 years, and hearing their stories and their memories, and they consulted us in our preservation efforts. And there's nothing as moving as watching the descendant of a family that lived in and loved that home climbing the stairs, holding the same banister that their forebears touched every day on their way up and down the stairs, and to say, well done, and thank you. So it's been very rewarding and gratifying for us. We're very proud of what we've done to preserve the Thompson House, but as we mentioned in '06, under its current zoning, 2006, the city did approve plans. There's a summer kitchen in the back. Summer kitchens were made to not overheat the house during the hot summers. Also, if it caught fire, it wouldn't necessarily catch the main house on fire. They're more common in the southern United States where it's very hot and humid, but the house did include one. And it was asserted that it was not a historic resource, that it wasn't part of the original construction, which was later proven to be false. And the city approved plans to tear that down to build 4 more offices, a garage, and an apartment. Behind it is a mining prospect where they began exploring to see if there were the proper placer deposits. They didn't find them, but it's a nod to the rich history of the site. And that would be gone had that project not stalled due to funding issues. When we bought it, there were three roofs on the house when we went to re-roof it, and they said a modern home would have collapsed under the weight of that much roofing material. But it was so well built by El Dorado County's premier lumber family, the Blairs, who hand-selected all the wood from their mills. So it's just been really special learning about the house, discovering its secrets, and preserving it and sharing it with the community. We see the home as a way for Placerville to know itself and to reflect upon its history. The survey is incorrect from, I believe, the 1980s that asserts that the home was built in 1851. It was built in 1862 during the Civil War, and that is documented. The last thing I'll add that's really special about it is we all have, many of us have been up to the Sportsman's Hall in Pollock Pines. That is constructed with remnants of a barn that was part of the original Sportsman's Hall complex. They reuse some of those timbers. You see those, hand-hewn timbers in the dining room, but those are just left over from an old barn. The original Sportsman's Hall, built in the 1850s, early 1850s, burned down. And it is where the Blairs got their start when they arrived in 1852 in El Dorado County. And they loved their home and business, a Sportsman's Hall, so much that the Blair Thompson House is a scaled-down version, a surviving replica of what that original Sportsman's Hall looked like. So it's a very special historic resource. If this is approved, we have every intent of having it added to the state and national register. We're confident that it will be accepted. And the main reason we're changing it is, the seeking to change the zoning is, while we can live in it and we plan to be there for the rest of our lives, we absolutely love it. The best thing, we're just temporary stewards. We're not really the owners. We're just temporary caretakers. And
Can you explain what that means? That means that we, just sorry to interject.
Yeah.
And that just means that we recognize.
Please step up to the microphone.
I apologize for interjecting. I was just going to interject just to make sure that it's clear that that is a perspective that implies an awareness of our mortality, which hopefully is not imminent, but you know, we all know the Latin phrase memento mori, right? So you keep that in mind and you recognize we're stewards of the home. Somebody else will own it. Yes, we are very openly saying we really hope it's residential use in the future. We do think that is more likely, in our opinion, to protect the home and protect it for Placerville and El Dorado County, which is the basis of our argument, so to speak, in this proposal today. Sorry.
no, thank you for clarifying on that. And I'll just end by saying that so long as, in our opinion, on our estimation, and our experience with preservation, so long as there is a commercial component in zoning for these historic resources, they are somewhat at risk because there is a bottom line to fulfill, and preservation doesn't always align with that. And you know, when someone approaches a home like this that's been fully restored, they usually do so with care and with appreciation and wanting to conserve that and carry it forward. Again, we don't have ultimate control, but we love this property and want to protect it.
Can we add in a thank you? We'll add in one quick thank you just also for the support, two things, the support of staff who have been so generous with your time. As we've come in to go through the process, you've helped us understand it. And then also, very broadly speaking, I just want to add in terms of process and procedure that you said we were kind or patient or, you know, no, these are necessary steps in our opinion. We should, as citizens, go through them. It provides transparency and helps to ensure that applicants can describe the purpose and their intent and do so thoroughly. So thank you for the comments also on that. It certainly was our intent to be as transparent as possible for the history as well as really to reinforce that the process is appropriate in our opinion. Any questions for us at this time or anything that we should clarify?
Before I open it up to the others, your passion definitely shows through, and on behalf of everyone, I want to thank you for your efforts, your time, the pictures that were included as part of your application. It's a beautiful place, not just beautiful to look at, as well as, you know, historically accurate. You've gone to such great lengths, and that is just tremendous for our community, and I thank you for that. I don't have any questions. Do anyone else have questions for the applicants?
Just curiosity, and it has to do with that summer separate kitchen, which is remarkable, and you just illustrated by that subject how what you're doing is important, the idea that someone sought to tear it down. Do you know of any other building where they still have a separate kitchen still standing?
Good question. Do you?
There are a couple of properties in Placerville where there are auxiliary structures that appear to be as old as the house. I'm not an expert on those. Some were well houses, some were sheds. Our neighbors Lynn and Eric, further down Cedar Ravine, have a beautiful example behind their house, but I'm not sure it was a summer kitchen. It's smaller, but it's still very historic and remarkable.
Any other questions for the applicants? Okay. Please take a seat. We appreciate you coming down here and walking us through and adding a little bit more to the story of your application. At this time, we'll open it up to the public for comments about this particular item. Please step up to the podium. If you would, tell us your name for the record. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. My name is Mark Simmons. I'm a resident of 3112 Cedar Ravine Road, a neighbor of Sean and Jacob's, along with my wife Daphne. And we're here to show our support for our wonderful neighbors who have painstakingly been working on this, along with all of the other wonderful things they do here in the community, with the Historical Society, opening up their home to events, driving us around to various historical cemetery and winery sites a couple weeks ago in rented vans. Kirk was part of that as well, as on that. It just really is. We moved up here about 12 years ago, and at that time, we loved the neighborhood, we loved the homes, we loved the history, and there were a couple of the places that were looking a little neglected. I can proudly say, as I walk downtown and walk back up, that because of Sean and Jacob, both for the 3062 and then the other properties nearby, the 3066, 3064, a couple of the other properties as well, they've done a fantastic job of bringing that area back into a vibrant and beautiful life. And so we're just here to thank them and let you know how much we appreciate them, and thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much. Anyone else like to comment on this application?
Good evening again. So when I read the staff report, I thought, this is a great staff report. Look at all these attachments and documents supporting. And then I read the applicant submittal, and I thought, oh my God, this is the world's best application I have ever seen. No one's ever going to beat it. I'm going to go back and reread it after this meeting, especially the history part was just amazed. So thank you so much for that. And I definitely support this action. And I totally concur that the business zoning in our historic districts is antithetical to us trying to preserve a residential historic district. And I also think the high-density residential zoning is also an attack, because an owner can try to maximize the dwelling units and is encouraged to, decimate or cut it up to maximize that zoning. So I would like to see, just an answer to a question, citywide, could the city council citywide rezone our historic districts back to a lower density and just have that count as one of the 4 general plan amendments per year? Because I think it's a way to protect our historic districts, is to reduce the zoning. And instead of the applicant having to pay for basically down zoning with a CUP, an applicant would have to really prove to upzone a historic district property to make it high density residential, but that's a separate matter. So yes, I definitely support the zoning, especially the lower density. And just a question, are we back to now adopting staff reports as part of the record? Because for a while there, it was a no-no, and now it seems we're back to it. It's just, and I don't know if this is the applicant's job, but the zoning and adding the H to it to show it as historic. And it has a special overlay, if you will. I don't know if that's their work or if the city does that. If not, I think the city should adopt it. You should make a recommendation to council, because one, that helps protect these properties when it goes to the real estate agent or a buyer. They see that H and they go, what is that? They call the city, well, it's historic. So you got some restrictions you have to watch, and you should know that before you make a purchase. So I really like that H after the zoning. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else like to speak to? Okay, I will close the public comment portion of this hearing. I appreciate both of you coming down and speaking in support of this project. I think it's very clear and what's being asked for and why, and also I am inclined toward it. Mr. Drobish brought up several topics that are really beyond our scope this evening, but I'm sure that, City Council reviews these tapes. They will hear what you have said. And so I think I would prefer that tonight we just take action on, as it's defined in the staff report that we have before us. You've opened up, I mean, it's interesting. I'm sure you appreciate that perhaps when it was zoned differently, that that city council was looking for a way to keep these properties in, circulation and being used for something as opposed to possibly being abandoned. We don't know. That's, generations in the past. But I'm sure city council will hear what you said, and if they feel like there's bandwidth to take on a larger project like that, perhaps we can in the future. But anyway, appreciate you bringing all that up in the public record. All right. So this is very clear. As I said before, I'm very in favor of this, following the staff recommendation, forwarding this on to City Council. How do the rest of you feel? Comments? Or should we just take action? Go ahead, Amy.
I feel the same. Everything that's been stated tonight by both the applicants and by the chair. I'm in total agreement. I was very impressed by the depth of the application. I think it's an appropriate use of all of these amendments and changes, and I really appreciate the investment in both the property and our community. This has been an ongoing topic for us to try and figure out how to best manage and protect these districts. And so I think this just falls right in line with the trend that we're trying to move towards to really make sure that that can happen. And I really do appreciate Mr. Drobish's comments about the zoning and letting people know about our districts. And if you're looking for a fundraising thing, I still think some signs at the entrances of the historic districts would be really wonderful to be an evergreen way to let people know that they exist and that we're proud of them and that they're important. So if you're ever looking for somewhere to put your money.
Anyone else have comments?
I think it's
Go
a
ahead.
slam dunk because I know the applicants, because along with a few hundred other members of the Historical Society, and been to the home for one of the events. But also I know the building because of visiting it more than 15 years ago when it was law offices, and can attest to it being a mess. But it's a remarkable building. I don't know of any building in town, just in addition to all the other jewels that we have, that is as faithful to the original footprint. Those windows in the front are hand-blown glass, originals. You see air bubbles. If you even suggested vinyl windows to those folks, watch out. It's just amazing. And again, remarkable that you have a kitchen and back that's still standing. Because I think when we saw that building that was also a Blair House as you go up Clay Street, we wondered about why were the sidewalks up several feet. Well, it's because people came in by carriage on these muddy carriages, and the groceries were delivered in the back, which is where the kitchens were. So when we see that Kimbellic house on Cedar Ravine, they have in the back a carriage house that I don't know what it's converted to now. So the idea that they preserved that building when others thought to tear it down is a real monument to what the whole historic districts are all about. That's why I think it's a slam dunk.
All right. Any other comments, or would someone like to make a motion?
I do have one question prior to making the motion, or someone can make the motion, about adopting the staff report. So I did notice that was back in this time. I didn't fully understand. I mean, I kind of understood the logic when they took it out, when Pierre and Kristen, but is that appropriate for us to include that as part of our motion?
So I was using an older staff report as a template. I know the bylaws are being reviewed, so if that was the direction of our previous staff, then I would want to strike that and not adopt the staff report.
Well, and I believe that they're,
It wasn't a bylaw issue?
no, it was.
preference of staff?
It was preference that we had made changes when in our discussions to some of the staff report. And so they wanted that to reflect sort of that we had made changes. Like I said, I didn't
And
necessarily
also,
agree with it.
It was that it is part of the public record, and the thinking was that it was redundant. The staff report is part of the public record, so stating it, they felt was more than was necessary. So it had been our standard process to say that we adopted the staff report. So I am neutral. If that's how staff would like to present it, that I'm fine with that too.
I would concur with my predecessors. It is already part of the public record, so it's just adding another step, so.
Right, just another statement. Okay, so I think we've clarified that.
I do have one comment or question about the conditions. I noticed that condition 8, the way that I read it, it seems like the application of the city code, the historical buildings, city code is kind of tied to changes to the building that would maybe trigger a new conditional use permit. But what about situations where we don't have modifications that are triggering a conditional use permit? So just like general repair and maintenance, seems to me like the historical building code applies to all activities associated with this parcel.
Oh, and so I guess I'm not clear on your concern that, are you proposing that we strike number 8?
No. I think leave it as is, but maybe add either a condition or maybe modify condition 6, the first sentence to just specifically refer to the zoning ordinance section 10410, historical buildings in the city. And this is no reflection on the current property owners. It's just that a conditional use permit runs with the land.
Right.
And so we would want to make sure that any future owners are very aware that this is part of the historic
That
district.
specific
and that
part of the
code
code.
applies.
So and that would be 10-4?
Yeah.
Okay. 10-4-10, okay. So development of the premises shall conform substantially with that as shown on the approved site plan and in conformance with 10-4-10? Is that the language that you would?
I think what I would suggest is the uses entitled pursuant to the permit shall comply with the Placerville City Code, including,
Up there.
but not limited to zoning ordinance section 10-4-10, historical buildings in the city. That would be in parentheses to be consistent. And all other applicable City of Placerville ordinances and state and federal codes.
Okay. Again, it's
It's a little bit,
but we've done
yeah.
this before. We've pulled out things that we felt, the Planning Commission felt was important to emphasize because it does run with the land. Okay.
Do you have it written? Do you want to make a motion?
I'm going to let you do it.
Give it a try. Okay. Here, well, can I see your writing then? Okay, cool. Just. Great. I follow after code. Okay. All right. Okay, here we go. So I would like to make a motion that we adopt the staff report as part of the public record and make the following findings in support of General Plan Amendment 25-01 as listed in the staff report on pages 8 and 9, numbers 1 through 5, and approve zone change 25-01 and conditional use permit 25-04. Excuse me.
We're just recommending them to the.
Oh, right, that we recommend approval for zone change 25-01 and conditional use permit 25-04, with the details listed on page 9 and 10 of the staff report. Oh, I guess I should have just done this. Okay, let me start over. I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the staff report as part of the public record and forward a recommendation of approval for General Plan Amendment 25-01, amending the land use from business professional to high-density residential for the 1.01 acre parcel located at 3062 Cedar Ravine Road, APN 003-241-067, and forward a recommendation of approval for zone change 25-04, amending the Placerville zoning map from business and professional to medium-density multifamily residential for the 1.01 acre parcel located at 3062 Cedar Ravine Road, APN 003-241-067, and forward a recommendation of approval for conditional use permit 25-04, subject to the conditions of approval. And
As amended.
is there a, I think actually on the zone change should be 25-01, not 04. And then the conditional use permit is 25-04, subject to the attached conditions of approval, with condition number 6 to be amended to state the uses entitled pursuant to the permit shall comply with the Placerville City Code, including but not limited to zoning ordinance section 10-4-10, historical buildings in the city, and all other applicable City of Placerville ordinances and state and federal codes. I think.
Well put. We have a motion and a second.
Second?
Would you please turn on your microphone and say that again?
Second?
A second by Mr. Smith. Thank you. Further discussion on the motion and the slight change to the conditions of approval? Okay. All right. Seeing none, Ms. Watkins-Howie, please call the vote.
Chair Keeney,
Aye.
Vice Chair Lepper,
Aye.
Commissioner Sylvester,
Aye.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Stratton.
Aye.
Okay. It passes unanimously. Now, we're sending a recommendation to City Council. This is not appealable, right? This is a recommendation?
It's just a recommendation, so it is not appealable. So it would go to city council, and the appeal process of that would be to, file a lawsuit.
Okay, and do you have any date of when City Council will be able to take this under advisement?
So we are proposing to take it to their first meeting in August, which I believe is August 12th.
12th?
So we'll be doing the 20-day ad for this early next week, or probably this week, to make sure that that gets in the paper. But we'll go ahead and incorporate all the changes, the housekeeping, but also update that condition of approval to reflect the changes tonight and take that forward.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. And, this does not look controversial. I hope you have smooth sailing from here on out. Again, thank you for your time coming down here tonight. All right, we will move on to item 11, which is continued items, and that is item 11.1, the Mackinac Hotel Site Plan Review, SBR 21-03-E3. I'll turn this over to you, Ms. Kendrick, once again, to review the staff report.
I did want to ask the commission, I know we were missing some folks, but we did go through a presentation. Would you like me to go through the full presentation?
I don't need it. I watched the meeting recording.
Correct. Okay. Well, it's a very short presentation, so I'll just go through that.
And they've come before the Plan Commission for an extension. You probably were in attendance when they asked for that.
Same thing, it's just.
They haven't changed. They haven't changed their proposal, and the city codes have not changed.
Correct.
So this is simply an extension for the Mackinac Hotel.
And to recap the last meeting, it was, they only, if they're successful in getting this extension, they only have 6 months left on their entitlement for an extension. And so I believe it was the commission's desire to prevent having another application come in a year to provide a 6-month extension. But we did confirm with the city attorney that you are only allowed to grant 12-month extensions.
Right. That was the concern of the three of us, that there'd be 6 months. If they needed 6 more months, why don't we just go ahead and do it now?
The idea is that we want to encourage hotel space that's desperately needed in this community.
Absolutely. And, we've agreed it's a good project, much needed in the community. And if they needed that extra 6 months, why force them to go through the application? But checking with the city attorney, that's not possible. We don't have that authority. So we're back now looking at a simple 12-month extension.
Right. And one other item that the commission brought up was, staff resources. So with the current budget, our department has been almost slashed in half. So I think there was kind of looking at what kind of, resources and trying to avoid having another meeting and application and staff report to prepare would be more efficient doing 18 months.
I guess I should explain that the reason for asking is because these applications for establishing and building hotels in the area has been around for a long time, and they keep getting put off. So it's just to get some insight as to what the reasons are, and maybe give us some idea as to what the prospects are for them happening anytime soon. Is it just a matter of changing for interest rates to go down, or what?
The applicant didn't indicate that. Basically, their justification was the same as it was for the previous extension of time, that they're still in the permit process and working through that. So, there could be other factors, such as you stated.
Thank you.
Alyssa, you had a comment or a question?
I just think keeping this on the top of our mind as we are looking at bylaw changes might be something worth adding if it's within our jurisdiction
Well,
to extend the time frame.
One thing that I suggested in the staff report is staff can't propose changes to the ordinance. It has to be done by direction from the Planning Commission or City Council or by an applicant. If that's something that you'd like us to look into, the 18-month is kind of unusual. I've seen 1 or 2 year, and where you could grant multiple extensions if you liked. Because there was, I think during the economic downturn, we were doing automatic extensions on entitlement applications because there were automatic extensions for subdivision maps, but not for the site plan review or the CUPs that went with it. So, there's a lot of factors that go into that, but resolving this problem could be as easy as changing it to a 1 or 2 year approval time to, establish use and reliance in their permit, or adding the ability to where you can extend it further.
From my perspective, it doesn't come before Planning Commission that often. It doesn't seem to be a real problem. It just was, the way it was presented, it was just this kind of weird half approval, 6-month approval. And I think that's unusual. And rather than having staff go through, you said it's a slight modification, and I appreciate that, it wouldn't take much work, but it takes work.
Yep.
And so if this is an ongoing problem, then yes, let's bring it up and ask for the staff to research and make that change possibly in the future. But at this time, I don't think it's necessary for us to ask for that additional legwork on behalf or by staff in order to change our ordinance. I think it served us quite well, and hopefully it will be sufficient time for this applicant to, break ground on the project. So that's my thought on that.
I agree.
Anyone else think I just don't think it's worth changing the ordinance or asking the ordinance to be changed at this time. Okay, any other questions for staff? I'll open this up for public comment at this time on the Mackinac Hotel. I don't know if Mr. Drobish has a comment about the extension. Please step up and.
No, but the mention of possibly making changes to ordinances and city code and such, Planning Commission needs to fully understand and embrace that they have the authority to decide that there might be a problem with the city code, bring up a future agenda item amongst yourselves, and forward a recommendation or not to city council to make a change. Don't rely on council to throw something back to you. It's really, you are empowered in the state code, in the city code, to come up with suggestions to city council. So be bold. Thank you.
Thank you for those words of encouragement. All right. So I'll close the public hearing portion of this and bring it back for action by the commission. Further discussion, or would someone like to make a motion at this time? Okay, crickets. I'll make a motion then, and to take a little burden off the rest of you. This is no, I don't think I've done that.
the opportunity. Get to the right page.
I will move that we adopt the staff report as part of the public record, and that we make the following findings in support of the 12-month time extension request for SPR 21-03-E3, variance 21-01E3, and variance 21-02E3. And there are 3 findings listed on page 5, and grant the 12-month time extension for this site plan review from July 5th, 2025, extending that to July 5th, 2026, subject to the following conditions of approval approved by the Planning Commission on January 4th, 2022 for SPR 21-03, variance 2101, and variance 2102 shall remain in effect and shall be included by reference with the 12-month time extension request approval. That is my motion.
Second.
I have a second from Ms. Stratton. Ms. Watkins Howie, please call the vote.
Keeney,
Aye?
Vice Chair Lepper,
Aye.
Commissioner Sylvester,
Aye.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Stratton.
Aye.
Okay. I'll say for the record that this action has a 10-day appeal period, and as do all of our actions, except the previous one. All right. Hopefully they can get going on that project that we're all very eager for. Okay. We'll move on to item 12, which is discussion action items, and this goes back to you, Ms. Kendrick, to present a discussion on city encroachment permits. And before you begin, I want to thank you for the thorough discussion and report that was included in our package. Very educational.
Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. At your last meeting, you asked for additional information regarding encroachment permits. So I did a little bit of research, and the definition of an encroachment is any activity that obstructs, interferes with, or uses the public right-of-way in such ways such as excavating or disturbing the right-of-way, erecting or maintaining structures like posts, signs, poles, fences, guardrails, walls, or loading platforms on or over or under the right-of-way, planting trees, shrubs, grass, or vegetation within the city's right-of-way, placing or leaving materials such as rubbish, brush, or earth on the right-of-way, constructing or maintaining pathways, sidewalks, driveways, culverts, drainage facilities, pipes, conduits, or cables within the right-of-way, operating vehicles or objects exceeding legal dimensions, weight, or characteristics without a permit, lighting or building fires, and placing structures, embankments, excavations, or trees adjacent to the right-of-way that can cause or may cause an encroachment. Section 831E of the City Code does prohibit any person, firm, company, corporation, association, public agency, or organization from encroaching, altering, obstructing the right-of-way without a written permit. This includes constructing or maintaining fixtures, removing or trimming trees, setting fires, moving oversized vehicles or objects that could damage the right-of-way, or creating embankments or excavations that endanger normal usage. So when looking at it in relation to the zoning code, chapter 10, it does talk about it in section 1044C8 for parking stalls, 1049, I don't know if it's I or L, for sidewalk dining, 10835F for easements serving parcels along public maintained roads or highways, and 10514D and 15D regarding minimum yard setbacks and canopies, marquees, eaves, unenclosed, uncovered balconies, or similar projections that may encroach. So, and then I attached the section of the ordinance, chapter 3, which is encroachment onto city streets, which is typically what we're looking at for your reference. I'm happy to try and answer any questions you may have. Typically, the encroachments are done through the engineering department, but did want to bring this information back to you as you requested.
Okay, thank you very much again for your presentation and your homework, educating us on this. I think this came up regarding the parking for the house over in the historic district, and my concern at the time was, you know, where exactly, what is the limit of the right-of-way? And I think that's something that if this comes up again, we need to have that clearly shown on maps that the applicant provides in support of, you know, providing parking. In this case, I wasn't really sure where was the right-of-way on that particular street. It's
difficult. So, I mean, typically it would involve a surveyor to determine. I've talked with engineering, and they're not quite sure. It's a very old street in that area, and so it's
not always drawn on all of our city maps where the actual right-of-way, because you've got the roadway, but then the right-of-way could be somewhere a little bit broader.
I mean, I've seen it everywhere. It could be all over the place. Structures encroaching into it, but this one was that particular project was a little challenging because even engineering was having a challenge trying to figure out where the right-of-way was.
Right, and that little street also is really challenged topographically, and you know, so thank you very much. Anyone else have questions regarding the presentation? And I just want to be clear, we do need to take action to receive and file this?
Yes.
Okay. So no other questions. Mr. Drobish, do you have a comment about our staff report on encroachment permits?
Well, the chair's question about I believe it was the on-street parking and requiring an encroachment, there is a section of the city code where, just for your knowledge going forward, on-street parking, that given the width of the street, the striping of the street, it spells out explicitly where you can and cannot park. So with a little one-lane residential street, which we have tons of, sometimes there's not even a center stripe, there's still a designated minimum width, because we had this question about VRBO rentals impacting the street. So, but it's very spelled out. But I'd hate to have an application here and then stop and go, wait, can we allow on-street parking? It's very involved, but I think that was a question you had for
The question that I had was the
parking.
encroachment.
Yeah. and-
Permit element of it, yeah.
And I suppose if nobody knows where the lot line is, you know, you say, well, come back to us when we all know where the property line is.
Right, requiring the surveyor. Okay, thank you. Further discussion? Mr. Smith?
Yes, if I may, just curiosity, when Caltrans came in and cleaned up Sakamoto Street a couple weeks ago, they trimmed up what they understood to be their right-of-way. That's in the city, but that's separate. It's not our right-of-way. They can trim as they wish. Do you know what I'm referring to?
I don't know the particular area, but in my experience, I mean, I've worked in jurisdictions where we've had state state routes running through the city, and that is Caltrans jurisdiction, where they don't have to get a permit from the city. I've had them do median projects where they don't need a permit from the city, but it impacts circulation within a jurisdiction. So if it's a Caltrans road,
It is State Route 49.
yeah.
Right, so that's the state highway, right?
Yes,
That's what you're talking, okay.
Highway 49. The other question is about the post office. It's in the city. There's a tree that obstructs driving. You have to get out into Sakamoto Street when you're about to turn. And I've asked Congressman McClintock to take care of it, and for 3 years, and nothing gets done. But that's federal property, and they can do with it as they wish. Just because it's in the city, you'd have no jurisdiction?
That I'm not sure on. That's something I'd have to get back to you on.
Thank you.
All right, any questions for staff about encroachment permits? All right. Have a motion to take the recommended action?
Make a motion to receive and file the memo regarding the Placerville encroachment permit overview.
Thank you, Amy. I'll second. Voice vote or general? Can we do this by voice vote? Should we do this by voice vote or general approval? Receive and file.
General approval is fine.
All right.
Actually, you don't even need to vote on it. It's just-
We don't?
Yeah, you just.
Oh, I thought we needed to take official action. Okay,
No, it's, yeah,
okay.
just receive and file.
So we don't need to have a vote on it?
No.
Okay. My misunderstanding. I thought that we were to take action. So, great. We'll move on to 13, matters from commissioners and staff. We'll start with staff reports. Item for staff to update us with the status of upcoming meetings and recent actions taken by City Council. And under that, not under there, but I see that Ms. Kentrick, you had a comment about presenting the new Planning Commission packet procedure. Should we take that up right now?
Yes.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay, so I've received some comments regarding challenges obtaining packets at the Cary House. And I did talk with the city manager and also the assistant city manager, finance director on possible solutions. So what we've come up with is that we will have your packets available at City Hall on the first floor in Will Call. If they're not picked up by 4 p.m. on Friday, then I'll start making calls to you and trying to make arrangements, but they will be at City Hall. I'm hoping that it's not going to be as late as this package was, but you know, things come up, and unfortunately, I'm trying to juggle quite a bit. But if that's something that the commission would like, we can certainly start. We can start doing that for your next meeting.
I think I was the first to suggest this, and I hope it doesn't present more work for staff, running at one place to the other or making follow-up phone calls. But, I appreciate how the staff at Cary House has accommodated me. But sometimes I've gone in as many as 3 times, and there's no one at the front desk. I've called the number, kind of went upstairs looking for someone, left, came back, blah, blah, blah. And then when I do pull somebody, off of their job to give me the packet, I feel a little bad for them. Other times you go in and there's someone waiting for guests, and it doesn't seem to be an imposition. So that is why I requested this. I love going to the Cary House. It's wonderful to even stand there for a few minutes and look around, but I do feel bad asking them to come down and give me my packet. So I'm in favor of staff providing this. First floor, we just go in and they're at the front desk and ask for our packet. I think that's going to be very easy for me. How do the rest of you feel? Are you able to go to City Hall during business hours? There, someone there till, you said 4 on...
We're open till 5. The doors are open until 5, but if you don't pick it up by 4, we're going to call and try to figure out what's going on and make necessary arrangements.
Okay. How do the rest of you feel about changing that?
I'll do whatever you find comfortable. I can just tell you that I've often gone into the Cary House after 5, and I just am there, and they recognize my face, and they know what I'm about to ask them, so I haven't had those difficulties. So all I can anticipate is rushing to get there at 5 o'clock.
Is it going to be an imposition for you to come down to City Hall before 5 o'clock? Because this obviously was set up because people couldn't meet that deadline. So I don't...
I'll do whatever you choose to do.
Well, how about if we try it for a while, and if people have trouble, then we can talk about another process? Or if it's more of a burden on staff. I don't want a whole lot of follow-up phone calls.
Well, phone calls are easy. It'll help Dina when she's making corrections to staff reports, because I think she ran back and forth between she got her steps that day.
100 degrees.
That's all I have to say.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in favor of it as proposed, and especially if we can give it at least a try. Like even this last time, there was someone there, but I had to wait for someone to make a whole reservation with Catherine's husband, so we were hanging out for a while. So I would appreciate at least giving this a try, because I know that there's a consistent staffing at City Hall during the day, and if it becomes a burden for anyone, I think we can revisit it. But I think it's a good forward for both staff and for us.
And everyone, if it is a burden, if it's hard for you to get to City Hall, speak up at a meeting and let's talk about it again.
Or just give me a call. I mean, because I definitely want to make sure that you have your packets. So if there's something I need to do, just reach out to me separately.
Okay.
At the Cary House, there's this parking right in front for customers coming in, so it only takes a moment. And we don't have that at City Hall. It means looking for a parking space, but I'm ready to try it out.
I couldn't park in front last time. Catherine's husband took my spot, so I had to go find street parking.
Rats. Okay, so we'll try that.
Actually, Chairman Keeney, Miss Howie Watkins has some information for you regarding that.
Oh, okay, please.
There is a parking spot across from the front door. There's one parking spot in the lot across from the street that you can park in right next to to Center Street.
That's my secret spot. I was not going to say anything about that. Rats. Okay.
Oh, it's on YouTube.
That's okay. This time of year, I like to go into the parking garage and find a shaded spot. So. All right. Very good.
Can I ask a question? Is there an anticipated meeting for August 5th?
No, it's actually coincides with National Night Out.
Oh, that's right,
And I
yes.
was told that we always cancel our meetings, so no, we will not be having a meeting on August 5th.
Okay.
That's going to be the recommendation that we can, our next meeting would be August 19th.
Okay, thank you.
And everyone, go to National Night Out. There's some big events. I haven't clicked on the link at the website to see where the local events, some neighborhoods put on smaller, local neighborhood things. So it's always a lot of fun.
I know that there's one on Placerville, or on Point View Drive.
Oh, there is an announcement. All right. Always a lot of fun. I went to that one time and gave fire safety.
Oh, you did. I remember.
Handed out
I wasn't
brochures.
at that
and-
one, but yeah.
You've got a great
I heard about
neighborhood up
it.
there. Yeah. All right. Under 13.2 Planning Commission Commissioner Matters, I would like to take a few moments to talk about where we are with our historic district guidelines. At the last meeting, and before you, members have had in their packets a letter that, well, we had a letter from the city signed by Cleve Morris summarizing City Council's direction to us. So on the 28th of January this year, I sent to members of the Planning Commission a summary of my thoughts on how we could move forward on the recommendations, the direction we had received from City Council. And I had asked that everyone take a look at that and share their thoughts so that we can move forward on that. So my January 28th memo, I kind of gave some background of our resources, which have improved. Let's get to, since I took this over, I want to get to what Amy's been working on next, but I will say there have been some great updates on our resources in this area. But then getting to the SOI standards and their application, the way I interpreted the direction from City Council is that they, wanted us to take a look at that. And so on page 2 of this memo, I kind of summarized what I thought were some standard findings that we could keep on hand or in mind as applications came to our attention. And I think the City Council would have liked us to have more of a checklist approach on things that could be easily approved, materials that could be accepted. But I've talked to a number of people about this and attended seminars, and the industry is changing kind of in response to historical preservation. So that, in the past we've had a lot of vinyl windows, that's just a hot button topic. But people want to preserve these houses. The insurance industry has come along and said, well, if you're in a high fire hazard area, we're not going to give you insurance unless you do certain improvements, including windows, including especially roofing, siding, all sorts of materials. And so given where we are today, there's a rapidly changing availability of materials. So I didn't think that we would be well served to come up with a checklist of certain things that we, would routinely approve for modifications for houses or structures in our historic districts. So I drafted these findings and provided them to the Planning Commission. And Amy took time to circulate to us tonight her thoughts on slight wording changes on these standards. So I'd like to, I hope you've all had a chance to look over this. It was provided to us tonight, a copy of an email. But there are slight modifications to the standards that, or the findings that I had proposed back in January. I think they're
Very minor.
they're minor changes that Amy has suggested. I think I had one concern about the project as proposed is a minimal change to the overall property as viewed from the street. I think I just want to say instead of as visible, but just as viewed from, kind of in keeping with, I think that's language from our ordinance. So I just would like to have your comments on this and then get some idea of where we go next. So we've had this, we've kind of been milling all over it. I would like to propose that we, if the commission agrees with these standard findings, then I would volunteer to redraft this January 28th memo for your approval, then to forward to City Council so that they know that we are working on this and these are our ideas. So I'd like to just take a look at these findings that I proposed and see what you think about them. Obviously, Amy, you just had a few comments, so I'll let you start.
Yeah, well, just to say that I re-reviewed your memo, which I thought was great, and just made some slight, like, little edits to it. I like your suggestion as removing visible and saying as viewed from the street. And I agree with you that I think with these findings in our historic property findings when we review applications, that I agree with you. I do not think, if I can see this again, that the age of the structure, the historic designation, or any of those things, or the SOI standards need to be written specifically for anything. I think referencing both the SOI standards and the sustainability standards that we've come upon are sufficient, and I think cover what we need. I think rewriting them would just kind of be redundant. And so I think with these, I think you really hit some great points on what our priorities are and also what the realities is. As someone whose home insurance was canceled this week, yeah. So it's real and it is relevant and it is something people are experiencing. So I thought that your 3 points were really on key with what we're doing and what we're looking for. In addition to that, it reminded me that I really think, I know I'm always yelling about inventory, but I think really identifying our contributing properties would be the next vital step to allowing for reasonable updates within our historic districts while also seeking to protect houses like we approved tonight. To really hone in on what our contributing properties are in all 4 of the districts and to really embrace those as being special cases, if you will, where we really try to keep the wood windows or whatnot, or whatever we decide, or whatever the applicant is proposing. And a lot of times those homes do have applicants who care and do bring forward good proposals, but that would allow us a little bit more protection for protecting those contributing properties. And in line with that, there is a map that is sort of in process from the city that really achieves the goal that I've been saying of highlighting what exactly properties are within the historic districts that Cleve Morris worked on or had staff work on for us that I have not, he gave it to me in May to review and I just haven't been able to circle back around. There's not a lot of changes, honestly, that I have to it, except that to say, in addition to that, I really do love the idea if we could at some point add an H or a historic designation to these properties. I think it's a really easy way, because again, I'm always trying, we can't capture people always, but we can put as many things in process that are in place that let people know when they look at these properties that they are in a historic district, even our non-contributing properties, so that they're aware of that and then can go look at the resources on the website, which is also a priority of mine to update and clarify so that they know what that means, because it's not the same as some cities with extensive rules, but we don't have no rules either, and we do have these districts and we do want to preserve them. So I actually really love the suggestion of looking into reclassifying the properties within the historic districts to have a designation that triggers people to know that. And I think that could go in line with the map, the GIS map, in addition to our contributing properties being identified on that map so that, again, if they decide to sell their house and someone buys it, they can be notified in several ways that is a property that has historic designation and historic significance, and that if it's not a property like that, that you're still in play for being under the rules of our general guidelines of our historic priorities. And third, to then have these findings which show that we are not being unreasonable in applying these standards, and we're looking to work with homeowners to keep these properties in line. Because I go back to my original point many times ago of if we don't allow people to update and maintain these properties, then they go away anyway. And so through disrepair and whatnot. So anyway, I think that was a lot of points that I just made, but they all kind of tie in together to all of this work that we've been looking at of how can we be reasonable but proactive in protecting our historic districts.
Wonderful. I really appreciate your passion. And just before I let Kirk Smith speak on this, I did check out, for the record, the email was circulated to Planning Commission members about the work that Amy And you worked with Jackie No on this, or this is,
Not really. I mean, Jackie No and I met, and she sent me those historic inventories that I
Okay.
was looking for, which I then updated just to be a little bit cleaner and more slice and dice
then-
accessible.
and then Cleve Morris worked with the city
And
GIS?
I believe Jackie, or actually, I believe Kristen Hunter was the impetus for getting that going. And so after Jackie and I met earlier this year, then in May, and I know that because I just looked at the email again, he sent me a draft web page with the GIS mapping, me and Jackie, to take a look at and let him know if we had any updates or improvements or anything. I thought it looked great, but again, I haven't had time to just really dig in and roll around in it. And so I even just getting back to him and saying, let's share this with the Planning Commission probably would be a great next step. I just haven't done it. Yeah, but I believe it was Kristen, and then under Cleve's direction that they utilized some staff time to create it.
So
And
that's in process, and so.
a massive improvement to what the access online is now.
I'll let you know, let's just wait on that till you have had a chance to review it thoroughly, and you're comfortable, you and Cleve Morris can work on that, and then when it's ready for the rest of the commission to really take a look at it, try it out, we'll comment on it at that. But you did send it to me, I did take a quick look, and I'm not sure if it's going to be interactive or so.
I just want to bring up that this item was not on the agenda, and that we probably should place an item on the agenda for discussion.
Oh, I thought this would
was a-
come under
we had a
our.
standing-
No.
It's not,
That would be my objection, because it deserves notice to the public. Also, I come to a meeting and I see the additions, so it was not on the agenda. And I think a subject of this great importance deserves to be there. Secondly, you had a commission, a two-member committee for working on 2 years. And one of the things that we recommended was that we have public hearings. They're not that difficult to do. Cleve Morris conducted them a number of times I've seen over the course of 15 years. But you had two historic preservationists. Wouldn't it be good to have some expertise from people who know what they're talking about?
well,
I asked for it.
It's not on the agenda.
outline
this has
from
been,
you
this
on-
has been
It's not
our
on the agenda, so-
standing work.
It is a standing agenda item for
Standing
us.
agenda, and something that we've routinely discussed over, there was a special line item for the special committee that had been appointed, but even once that was dissolved, we continued to talk about these items routinely, and as I said, this memo has been, was provided to Planning Commission back January 28th of this year. Really what I was looking for was finally getting some feedback from other commissioners about this, and because this is, to me, this is our work. Definitely we want to take public comment on it, but before we can do that, I wanted to hear from the other commissioners, which I never have. So that's why I brought it up. So,
Right.
Ms.
Well,
Kendrick, I'll turn it over to you for clarification.
I would recommend that it just be added as an item under 13.2 specifically, so that we can talk about it.
I thought that was just an oversight because on most of our past agendas, it has been an item under 13.2.
Okay, so
So I
that's-
just assumed that it had kind of been rolled up into Planning Commission matters because it's not a public hearing. But I think I would like to see it as a standing item on here if that's how we need or want to approach
Right,
it.
so that the public knows. So just like we can't comment on public communications for items not on the agenda, it's kind of the same situation. So we can add that as a standing item on there. And, but yeah, it's not specifically listed, so that's where I have concerns.
Okay, I wasn't asking for action this evening. I was asking for input so that we could develop the next thing that actually we would take action on, a summary memo back to City Council in response to the one we received. I guess that was be at the end of 2024. So let's just drop the matter for now and give direction to staff to add that as an item under 13.2 for our next meeting.
And going forward.
And, yeah, then we can move forward. Is that acceptable?
Yes, and I didn't get to go over the items in 13.1. We just talked about the packets, but I do have a couple updates for you whenever you'd like me to go over.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was all that you had. Okay, so let's go back to then staff reports. So I apologize. Since this had been a standing point of information or something we had been routinely discussing, I did not realize that it needed to be specifically agendized.
I can confirm with the city attorney, but it's the same like public comment. We can't respond to public comment for items not on the agenda, so it's the same, it's in the same vein. So at the July City Council meeting, we brought forward a discussion on the 1906 bridge. And that was, that discussion item was generated by our audience member. And so we provided options on getting the bridge on the local, state, and national register, and the information that would be needed as well as the likelihood of it getting on there. The Planning Commission, the City Council did discuss at length, but had decided that that's not a high priority at this time based on all the other things that they're wanting to accomplish, but it's something that they might revisit. In addition, for our next meeting, for August 19th, we are anticipating having 2 master sign plan amendments, one for Arco. So the Shell on Main Street is going to be rebranding to Arco, but they're adding another sign next to the fueling sign. And then sociology. And then potentially we might have Home Depot. So they just resubmitted their conditional use permit in addition to submitting a variance for parking and modifications to the master sign plan review. So we're definitely going over that to determine if that will be ready for our next meeting. As well as our next meeting, I'd like to do a just kind of informational thing on AB 52 and SB 18. And also, well, with AB 52, there's changes coming forward. I did a lunch and learn with APA, the American Planning Association. I'm doing another one with the AEP, which is Association of Environmental Professionals. So I'd like to bring that information back to the Planning Commission. And looking at potentially bringing information regarding AB 130 and SB 131. It's updates to major housing laws, and it's kind of got a little bit of CEQA reform in there. So just providing information. That one just went into effect, I believe, July 1. It was very recent, or it could have been June 1, but it's a very recent development. So just want to make sure that the commission's informed. If there are things that you'd like staff to kind of do informational trainings on, we can certainly look at that. But I do have like a couple things kind of planned down the road for you guys. And that's all I have at this time.
Okay, thank you. So we've doubled back to staff reports, and are there any other matters from other commissioners under 13.2 that you would like to discuss? We kind of got ahead of ourselves with the historic district guidelines. Any other topics from other commissioners? Okay. And I do apologize for not understanding the agendizing of that item. So we will do better in the future. Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry?
I just saw his hand up. I don't know if we take public comments or not.
I don't know why we would at this point.
I don't know either.
Okay. We took public comment earlier, and so the Planning Commission matters. Catherine, did you have something you wanted to?
Well, this is just kind of still in line with the agenda, because the way I read this is under Planning Commission matters, it just has, subcommittee work listed, any updates. So I guess I'm also a little bit unclear. It'll be good to get some clarification on how we can bring up topics under this item.
Ms. Kendrick-Corner, you and I discuss this further so that we're always in conformance. And yeah, I guess there was a presumption that we could freely discuss and take input on these matters. That even though it's not a special committee, it is work that we decided to take on as part of our role as Planning Commission. And it has been some time. The first of the year. That's the last time we've talked about what we really want to do with these, the SOI standards. But
Well, and if it's subcommittee reports, we would list the subcommittees out on the agenda. So if it's a historic district or if it's a if you have several subcommittees, we would list them out individually so that way you can discuss.
I wonder if we should formally form a subcommittee.
But we could consider that. I don't want to burden staff with that. I was under the impression that the direction was from City Council that we work on it as a committee, as opposed to a standing or a special committee. But I'll speak with you, Ms. Kendrick, on how best to proceed, and then we'll pick this back up on the 19th of August.
Okay.
Okay. Good. It's 7:35, and we stand adjourned.